grade 3 learners. They're supposed to be working, but you hear a chair going cluck, 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 and then a foot tapping, tock, 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 cluck, cluck, tock, tock, cluck, cluck, and then a pencil tapping out on the table. The teacher, out of desperation, to keep some order and discipline in the class, screams at my son, "Edward, you can never sit still! You will amount to nothing in your life." Yes, that's my son. He's the restless one. And he doesn't have ADHD, just like many young boys his age. He cannot sit still for long periods at a time. In his book, Brain Rules, John Medina cites cutting-edge research on brain science, and he states that severe and prolonged stress harms learning. My son's restless behavior has led to lots of conflict with the system. This average to above average IQ student are underperforming academically because of that stress. In the same book, John Medina also cites that physical activity is like cognitive candy. The human brain wasn't made to sit still for long periods at a time. According to Howard Gardner's multiple intelligence theory, a theory, by the way, the Institute for Learning describes as the most solid research-based theory that education has ever had. According to that theory, my son scores high in body kinesthetic intelligence, which means he thinks while he moves. We decided to homeschool. So if you walked into our school classroom on Tuesday, you would have seen both of us lying on the backs on the floor, me with a geography textbook, helping him study for his upcoming test. Him you would have seen with a chair on top of his legs, busy doing leg presses. But you know what? His brain was functioning optimally because he was moving. If honorable chairs and members of the committee, the Department of Education posted on Twitter in 2021 that every child is a national asset, and I couldn't agree with you more. But science has proven that not all students learn the same way, with the same system, with the same methodology. To develop our assets to the fullest, we need to take individual learning needs into account when we design a system. Why not partner with parents to fully develop our children, our assets, to what they're supposed to be? In our South African context, there are many parents willing to homeschool, so partner with us, and please don't take that freedom away. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are you the last one, sir? Okay.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, the committee, and everybody present here. My name is Lehlaonolo James Lituka, a teacher by profession. I do not support the bill simply because it purports to take away the rights of the governing bodies in our education. Parents form a very, very strong pillar of our education system. Now, if parents' authority is diminished, what is happening currently in our education will look like a circus in the afternoon. We are all aware of the problems that are there in the schools, simply because the authority of the parents is being tampered with. This bill doesn't go much in strengthening that. Instead, it weakens the SGB powers. Let us look even at the language and admission of policies in the schools. Some people will think that, according to this bill, it will do away with schools deciding on the language they want used in their schools. That is very, very important. I think people must understand, if a community decides on what language should be used, if it is discovered in their decision that that was intended to exclude certain people or certain learners, obviously it's then that the department can step in and regularize that. But just to remove the parents from taking such important decisions, I think it will not be right. Another reason is that other forms of education like homeschooling has not been sufficiently covered in this bill. It doesn't say much about it in terms of regularizing it, in terms of looking even at the value of it. So for that reason, it is going to be very, very difficult to support a bill like this. Some of the issues have been referred to by other speakers who spoke before me, like the bill ignoring real issues in our schools. Well, somebody did refer to the dropout rate. Nothing is said about that. Lack of resources regarding teachers.
Unfortunately, your time is up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now I'm going to take next round, starting on my left. Can you then raise your hand so that I can note? At the back, 1, 2, 3, you. 4, with a blue t-shirt on with the specs on your head. Number 5, yes, yes. Number 6, come, Obutika Sporty, yeah, you can also come. Number 7, number 8. Do you still have chairs that are empty? 1. This side, no? Which one? There at the back, got his specs. Come on, with a navy blue t-shirt. We all know the rules. Those that just came in, we speak for 3 minutes. Those who don't want to speak, there are forms where you can make your comments. Here in the table in front, there are also other officials circulating the forms there at the back. You can start there, sir.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. We should always remember one fundamental question when discussing education, and that is, whose child is it? It is not your child, it is my child, and I should have the God-given and constitutional right to decide what my child learns and how he learns it.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Johan van der Merwe.
Thank you.
Threatening us with prosecution, like in Section 37 of this Act, doesn't create trust, it creates suspicion. Creating laws about home education without even engaging with the home education community doesn't create trust, it creates mistrust. Thinking somebody can assess our children when we do various and or multiple curriculums at 1.5 to twice the speed of ordinary schools doesn't create trust, it creates skepticism. Forcing us to pay for somebody who probably won't be able to assess our children in terms of the speed and content they study, well, that's just wrong and silly. Forcing us to let strangers into our house for inspections in a country where crime is already out of hand opens the door for criminals, and this law will put our lives into danger. That's inhumane, dangerous, and unconstitutional. We are not saying that there should be no regulations. We are saying consult with the homeschooling education, let's create sensible regulations. We are not saying there shouldn't be any standards for us. We are saying let us help you to understand the complexity and the diversity of our curriculums. We are not saying there shouldn't be any laws. In fact, we welcome laws so that home education is not abused and misused. But we ask for laws that are as relevant, dynamic, agile, and adaptable as our children's, our curriculums, and the world out there. The world is moving at a fast pace. Home education is the only opportunity we have to keep up and get ahead with the skills and knowledge our children need and they should be acquiring for the world. Instead of trying to discourage us with cost-senseless administrative procedures and even prosecution, rather embrace the opportunity and let us create the future Einsteins, Da Vinci's, Edisons, Mozarts, Newtons, and yes, unfortunately, even Justin Timberlake's of the world, all products of home education. Don't limit us to what you think our children should learn. One caps doesn't fit all. Rather engage with the fastest growing sector in education, namely the homeschool education. And let us help you to create sensible legislation, because at the end of the day, it is not your children, it is ours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yuan. Mr. Yuan, do you support, reject, or partially
I reject
support?
section 37 completely. Scrap it, please.
And you partially support or partially?
There's nothing for me in it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Honourable members, I reject the bill, specifically clause 37. I have been learning at home for 6 years now, and for most of that time I have been doing Cambridge, which is the British curriculum. When I started, my mum was helping me to get through the work, but now I prefer to work on my own. I am grade 9 age and I am currently doing my ICSIS, which is grade 11 equivalent. The reason that I'm doing Cambridge is because it is not about memorizing the work. It is about understanding it so that I can remember it and use it practically. For a lot of people that do CAPS, it isn't like that. It's more about memorizing the work just to get through the tests. But it shouldn't be. It should be about retaining the knowledge afterwards. There are many different curricula, but there is no one-size-fits-all. But person to person, it might be better to use the American curriculum or Cambridge or any curriculum. Different curricula allow for people to work at the speed they choose, and some people might need to work slow because they have learning difficulties, and some people will want to work faster to finish school before they turn 18. And it also allows for you to work quicker through easy work and concentrate more on the stuff you struggle with. So I ask for the freedom to choose what curriculum I feel is best. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Chairperson, I've been a home education mum for the past 6 years. I'm also a member of the Free State Home Educators Forum, and we represent 138 home educating families in and around Bloemfontein and the Free State, which is 250 children in the Free State. I have 2 boys. You just heard one of them speak. My youngest son is not here because he gets anxious in big crowds like this. He is on the autism spectrum. He's got ADHD. He's highly intelligent, he's fun-loving, he's got an amazing sense of humor, but he cannot go to school. If I had to send him to public school, where the number sometimes comes to 45 children in a classroom, I will most probably be forced to put him on some other medication to control his ADHD. He might get bad marks because of his lack of focus. He gets distracted by something like the clicking of a pen. He might be accused of bad discipline, because he can't sit still for more than 5 minutes. Because of his hyper-focus, he gets very interested or very bored very quickly and loses interest and concentration at once. He might even fail a grade because he won't ask a question in class because he's too shy to do that. If he writes an exam on a bad day, he might not get good marks. He might soon fall behind his peers. Since I teach him at home, he does not have to take any medication to help him concentrate or calm down. There are good days and there are better days. On Sundays we don't get a lot done. On Sundays we get a lot done. He can choose subjects that stimulates his interest. He can take as many breaks as he wants to maintain his focus. At the moment he's on track to finish his matric a year early. We follow an international curriculum that suits the way his brain works. I know and acknowledge that teachers are doing their best to accommodate kids like my kids in classes, but it's just not good enough. I don't want to ask your permission to do what is best for my children. I don't want to follow a curriculum that will put my child a year back if they want to study internationally because they have to do a bridging year because CAPS are not accepted at international universities. I don't want to subject my anxious and socially awkward child to annual tests at my own cost, mind you, with a person who doesn't understand him or the curriculum he follows. I do want to continue the way we are doing it now by helping you to understand what home education is and why we are doing it. I understand that legislation is necessary to regulate the home education sector to prevent abuse. But please talk to us before you make laws about something you have not done any research on. We as home education families love what we do. We are passionate about what we do, and we love talking about that. So if you listen to our stories, you might understand why we want to continue to do what is best for our children, why I want to continue what's best for my children. Separate the
Thank
laws.
you very much. Your 3 minutes is up.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
reject clause 37.
All right. The next speaker. Come sit here on the front. One here.
Good afternoon, honorable members and the community of Koffiefontein, Karib. My name is Gerald Munapule Mudise. I'm residing in Koffiefontein in Ward 5. I've just thought it's important also to share with the honorable members, the chairperson, that Karib exists or consists out of 17 towns, 24 wards. All the towns of Karib, we are a presidential nodal district. I'm sure as you have entered, you have seen the levels of poverty. We are a town that the mine is closing as we speak. But I thought it's important for you, Chair, just to share that under the leadership of Ndate Magwa, we are a district that is performing very well in terms of education. As I, Gerald Munapule Mudise, I support the BELA bill, which seeks to enhance the organizational efficiency of the basic education system to improve the school governance, leadership, and accountability, transforming education and service and protecting the vulnerable groups to ensure learner well-being and access to learning. The legacy of colonialism and apartheid has entrenched spatial inequalities and poverty, which creates systematic and exclusion, which requires Parliament to amend legislation to respond to the changing conditions continuously. I, Gerald Munapule Mudise, a member of the ANC, I support the BELA bill.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Mariska Potgieter. I'm a mother of 3, resident of Koffiefontein. This bill is very concerning. I object completely towards this bill. I don't agree with this bill. I feel government have already, to give government the sole right to decide what to do with our children, if they cannot even decide what to do with the institutions already run by them, is to me a big concern. I think playing with our children's futures, to hand our children to the government to decide upon themselves what to do with our children, I don't agree with that. If my child has a learning disability, I want to send him wherever I want. If I want to teach my child in a language where I want to teach my child, I want to do it. The SGBs is a very important part of our schools. SGBs is the important link between the school and the parents. And the SGBs assist us as parents to know that the important, I'm going to go over to Afrikaans in this one. Om seker te maak dat die dinge, dat die school doen wat hulle moet doen vir ons kinders, om ons belange ter harte te neem. So they are there to look at to protect the importance of our children's, what's the Engels? Somebody can translate for me. Somebody can translate, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so hulle is daar om ons die belange van ons kinders na te kyk. Ek stem glad nie saam met hierdie bil nie. As 'n ma van 3 is ek eintlik baie bekommerd oor hierdie bil wat die regering wil in plek stel. Dankie.
Thank you. Translation.
Shortly, what I said is the parents really want to ensure that the schools, if they do anything, they must do what they are supposed to do for our children and not something that is outside the interest of them. Especially when you look at the mentioned interest, as was said before, the parents feel that they should have a say in what happens with the children. Thank you.
Thank you. You can continue, sir.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Jabu Apani. I'm from Congress of South African School Governing Bodies. I support the bill completely. But there are some elements that I want to put any input into, especially on section 5, where it says that the head of department, before he considers to approve the language policy, he will look into whether that policy take into consideration the broader community. In this regard, it says the district, not only the community that hosts the school, because it was problematic before, and it is problematic in certain areas where if maybe the areas, especially in the areas where the languages are Afrikaans or English, you will find that some of the people who are not speaking that language, their language is not considered. And in that case, those students will be barred from being admitted into that school only because they speak a different language. So we don't want an act that will divide our communities based on which language you speak. We want a policy that will accommodate everyone. We don't want to see a situation where there is a white school or a black school. We want to see white teachers going to black schools to teach. We want to see at the areas where there are white children, black teachers going to that area, not because to be bad because they speak a different language. In a sense, if you can see, if you can find identifying a particular school as a white school or a black school, it served the apartheid ideology that wanted to separate us. And also on the issue of corporal punishment, we support it. Those teachers who are frustrated by not knowing what to do when a child is ill-disciplined, they should not resort to corporal punishment, because we want children who will respect teachers, not people who will fear teachers. We supported that amendment at section 10. We know where we come from. We are from a system where we have been beaten at schools. We were crying when we were going to schools. So those who are frustrated about what to do when children are ill-disciplined, let them look for other alternatives.
3 minutes is up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it for this opportunity that we get today to engage with our parliament. My name is Jeremy Steenkamp. I'm a parent of 3 learners who are still going to rise up in this education system of us. Me, myself, I was a previous learner of this education system of us. I really, I have to apologize to say this, but our system have failed me. Because of I have been sitting with a matric certificate of Umalusi for almost 18 years or more. So I partially agree with this bill, but there I see that in the provisions they make for educators in section 1, if I'm correct, they call it a Maiken benefit, a Ken benefit. But I'm not sure if I understand that clause correctly. Those provisions they make, those benefits, are they for the educators or for the learners? So my understanding is not clear on those, but totally with the other amendments, I agree with it. But I would like to ask for the department on that specific, on that clause of the assistance for that amendment on the benefits for the educators. They should implement and try to see, can they not implement that on the supportive programs for the school? because of our schools are struggling at this moment here. They are going through difficulties. Our schools are performing very well, ma'am. I don't want to lie here. Even through these difficulties they are doing, but they are performing very well. Now we have a situation in our schools where there are feeding schemes. Now the feeding schemes, they are only provided for our kids to a certain extent. I'm not sure if our government is involved in providing that feeding scheme for our learners at the schools. But our matriculants, they are suffering at the moment now. Because now they are not sure if they're going to continue to be getting that assistance because of some of the bills, the amendments changing every year. So I really want to ask that you look into that bill, maybe can assist us there in the providing the necessary assistance for that feeding scheme in our schools. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. The next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ansi Savanda, and I'm residing here in Koffiefontein, Ward 5. I'm welcoming Parliament this afternoon, and I'm very sorry to hear about the accident. I don't know whether it was a porthole or what, but accidents are accidents, and we're feeling very sorry for it. But we're glad you made it down here. We're glad to see you in person, because sometimes we just hear over the radio this voice and that voice. Some voices sound very beautiful, some voices sound gross, but yeah, you are here. And we would like to see more of you. You must come down more so that we can interact not once or so, because we down here we have many problems and many challenges. I don't have children on school, luckily. They are educated and they are well off, thanks to God. And yes, all the praises go to God. Nothing is possible without God. It's my belief. It's my belief. Yeah. Many of the community members that are here today, they are not really well enlightened as what is going on here. Some of them, they just came here. They heard there's a meeting about education and stuff. They don't know what is going on in this bill. Even me, I was sitting and trying, not that I don't understand English. I was sitting there and I can't comprehend. I see all these amendments and all these acts and what, but I try to understand what is going on here today. This document, it consists of a lot of laws and stuff and what, and we can't just come as parents and as community members and come and say, yes, it can go through. Because some of them, we can't just agree with it, really. I don't know who came up with the idea of disbanding or let go over the SGBs, because the SGBs, they're forming a central and a vital part of our communities. Because someone up there, when you are up there, you don't really know what is going on down. You don't see the chaos on the ground, because really down here we have chaos. We don't even have water at our schools. Our schools, they have to adjourn because for the mere fact that there is no water. And what does that mean? Their child, their people, they have to go to school. They didn't have the daily education, and they just go and loitering in the streets, even don't go into houses and stuff. It's like that is a problem. And some children can't even read at our schools. You know, my daughter is a teacher here at a school. Some children, they just sit there, they can't read, they can't speak. They take the pencil
your 3 minutes is up.
Thank you very
3
much.
minutes
Thank
is
you
up.
very much.
Thank you so much. Next.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, honorable members. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Zillan Lamprecht. I am a teacher at heart. Before I changed careers, I used to teach math literacy, life orientation, business studies economic and management sciences, so I really have a keen interest in education, and I have to say that I reject this bill in its totality, especially the part that speaks about the mission and language policies of schools. To have this power taken away from SGBs, I believe it will be detrimental to the future of our children. I've pulled up stats and I believe it could have changed, so I'm going to use the word approximately. There's approximately 315 schools in the Free State. There's approximately 215,000 learners with around about 8,000 teachers in the Free State. I believe that the Department of Education does not have the capability to manage all these schools, especially when it comes to language and admissions policy. We cannot allow the future of our children to be taken away from the SGBs because they are hands-on in the community. So I reject this bill in its totality. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you very much, members of the Portfolio Committee. My name is Toriso Mtolo. I'm attached to the Provincial Department of Education. Specifically, I'm responsible for coordination of school governing bodies in the province. I stand here to support the bill in its entirety because my reading and understanding of the bill is that it seeks now to strengthen partnership between the department as well as members of the community. Nowhere have I read where the bill says it is taking away powers now from the SGB. Even with regard now to my understanding is that the bill tries now to respond to the practical challenges that we are experiencing currently. As a person now who is also now responsible for learner admission, one of the challenges that we are constantly faced with, it is a question of learners who are not admitted in schools near to where they stay, just because those schools now, there are single medium schools. And my understanding is that this bill seeks now to empower the head of department to intervene in such instances. And the question now of wanting now to say the HOD is divorced now from the community is not waiting in isolation. We are having foot soldiers of the department on the ground upon whom the head of department relies. And therefore it is not true that as a department we are divorced now from the community that we are serving. Currently, we are inundated with learners who, for understandable reasons, their parents now, during COVID, opted now for home-based education. But they are now coming back into the mainstream. And because that sector is not regulated, it is a problem. How do we place them in our public schools? Our public schools are also complaining that these learners, they are lagging behind. And it is for that reason that I am saying this bill is not about theory, but it is responding to the current challenge that we are experiencing. We are inundated with complaints from members of the community relating now to financial irregularities as it relates to how some of our SGBs are handling these finances. And it is for that reason that the bill seeks now to strive for more transparency in terms now of how these finances are being utilized. And it is for that reason that we move and support this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Can I now identify three hands? Hands on this side, the right. That's number one. Number two at the back. Yes, you, sir. Only two hands. Number three. Can I move then to this side if there are no other hands this side? Number four. Number five at the back. Sisi, come. Number six. So we're done. It's only 6 hands. No. You can come in and... No, it must be recorded. You can come in front and indicate if you support or reject. So we have only, come here, yeah, you can start. Yes or no, partially?
Approve the bill.
Thank you. We only have 2 for 6 hands, then it means we are done with the Koffiefontein and the comments today. Or number 7. Okay.
Do I speak or do you speak now?
No, you can speak, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for being here and thank you for listening to us. I'm a grandfather of 5. I've been in different SGBs for nearly 12, 13 years while my kids were growing up. And if there's one thing that I've listened to out of the whole discussion, I can go along and say to you that section this and section that, that's actually not the biggest problem. The biggest problem is we must understand that schools, and I want to call them platteland, that's here where we are, needs additional funds to be able to function, totally. And that means that we need the support of each and every parent. And then I want to state it clearly that Transburg, where my youngest are, is multiracial. It's not a thing of keeping people out or whatever. But the thing is we need each and every parent's goodwill to be able to give the quality education that they need. And that is being eroded. I agree, it's not a question of being taken away, but it's being eroded because the little thing that says at the top that the department can basically override a decision that was taken by SGB means that their powers are eroded. And that is why I want to totally disagree with the bill as it stands. And I hope that you take it back and reconsider and come again, because there is a lot of very good in it. But if I say to you here that I partially agree, then it doesn't say with which part. That is why I've got to say sorry and say I totally disagree with the bill. Thank you very much and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Do you support, reject, partially?
No, ma'am, I can't support it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Uvuisile Paulos. My surname is Neme. I am standing here as a parent of 3 children and I'm also a member of the ACDP. I'm speaking on behalf of the church. So we reject the BELA bill, in particular clause 41 that amends section 61 of the South African School Act. So this clause allows the minister to make regulations concerning learners' pregnancy. The DBE's policy on the prevention and management of learners' pregnancy is about providing sexual and reproductive health services to learners as young as 12. These services include, as the policy itself says, enabling, and I quote, learners to obtain abortions. So this can be done secretly. This can be done without parents or guardians knowing. So this can be done without the consent of parents, even against the wishes of parents. Parents will be pushed out of the picture and their place taken by strategic and social partners who will be assisting a 12-year-old learner to access abortions and all forms of contraceptions. So we may have educators here with us today, and I'm sure that they are still sitting here, but not to allow this to happen. So however, they will not have a choice. If they want to avoid jail, the minister not only wants the power to make regulations, but also to punish teachers and parents and also SGB members. So the second part of clause 41 will give the minister power to punish those who don't implement the regulations with fines and jails and sentences of up to 6 months. So these regulations could force teachers to refer learners as young as 12 for abortions and all forms of contraceptions and compel them to keep this secret from their parents. So even in a few years' time, the minister could change these regulations. The minister is acting as you as parliamentarians give her a blank check over our children. This is our children. So we as the church, we as the SBC, we reject this BELA bill, in particular clause 41. So we say stop this BELA bill because we reject it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairperson and the members of Parliament. My name is Leboham Mota. I'm residing here in Koffiefontein, Ward 4. I have a child at school. I'm a member of the EFF here in Koffiefontein. I just want to say that I reject this bill only on one point, because there was never a consultation with the community, so that the community can have an input. Some of us, it's the first time that we are having this bill in our hand. And there's a lot of clause here. And some of our parents, they cannot read. There must be an education with the community so that they can give some meaningful input before there can be an amendment. I reject it with the contempt it deserves. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Person and members of the honorable members of Parliament, as well as our community members, good day. Chairperson, I'm seated here and I've been listening to most of the comments. And from where I'm standing and where I'm coming from, all these comments seeks to trash the current education system. And I was not going to speak here today, but honestly saying, I've been sitting there listening to people just one after the other stating how nonsensical this education system is. Now, Chairperson, with all due respect, I am a product of that very same education system. And honestly speaking, I don't think I turned out too bad. I'm just saying that. I don't understand, Chairperson, how people can in the one way say, I reject, and I mean, it's a radical view to say I reject, and then in the same sentence, you say section 36 or section 41. Speaker, or Chairperson, in actual fact, they should have been saying, we should have this on record that they partially agree. Because they have problems with some sections of the BELA bill, not in the BELA bill in its entirety. So in actual fact, today we should capture that we have concerns, meaning that we have partial disagreements. One of them being the issue of the homeschooling. The second one being the issue of the powers of the HOD now. And I can promise you, Chairperson, that there is no way that the HOD will act unilaterally without consulting when he has to execute his executive powers to intervene in schools that are adamant to continue pursuing the old ways of doing things. Chair, we cannot sit here and say that we reject. That's a very strong term. Are we saying that we should allow our society to be eroded into a lawless society? Chairperson, I support the BELA bill. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen, our good parliamentarians. My name is A. Mulele from the Congress of South African School Governing Bodies. I concur with the speaker here, the last speaker, because I think there is this certain narrative here which is pushing a certain agenda that seeks to destroy or be against anything. Because when you say you don't support the bill in totality, I don't know actually where are you heading to. Let me just say I am fully and unambiguously supporting the bill. But however, there is a section 5 clause number 4 which I think it seeks to destroy and kill the total power of the governing body. Because we know actually what actually the role of the governing bodies in school is. The power can be given to the head of department, the HOD, because in this instance, the HODs, we are referring to district managers, circuit managers, including the principal. But how this thing has been ran, more especially in Gauteng, the principals, they already taken the power from SGB. They are doing the work of SGBs. The SGBs are just signing where they don't even understand what actually they are signing for. The principals are doing all the admissions, the work that should supposed to be done by our SGBs. I think this nonsensical attempts that seeks to destroy the powers of the SGBs must be stopped and abolished with immediate effect. I thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Next.
Goeienaand allemaal. Dankie vir hierdie platform wat julle vir ons bied om ons sê te kan sê. Ek is ouer van 4 kinders wat ek al reeds, 3 het ek al reeds deur hierdie systeem gesit en een van my kinders is nog op skool. Ek het nie geweet van hierdie wet wat moontlik in kon gebring gewees het nie. Ek het net voordat hierdie vergadering begin het my man van my daarvan vertel en ek staan hier so, ek het nie baie inligting omtrent dit of agtergrond nie, maar daar is soveel rooi ligte wat vir my afgaan as 'n ouer omtrent hierdie wet. Hoe begin mens? Ouers uit die equation daar waar kinders betrokke is. Ouers wat sal veg hand en tand vir hulle kind en daai mag oorgee vir mense wat nou nie eens jou kind se naam ken nie. Dit is vir my 'n baie groot gevaarteken. En ek kan nie sien waar het vanaf kom nie, ek het baie waaroms. Waarom iets wat nie gebreek is in my oë of in baie van ons oë? Waarom iets wat nie gebreek is, jy probeer regmaak? Of iets wat nie gebreek is, jy gaan breek om iets anders in plek in te stel. Hierdie is 'n voorreg wat 'n ouer het om wat soos 'n God gegewe taak eintlik van God af wat in jou ouer om jou kind te kan bystaan in alle fasette van sy lewe. Waar begin mens om 'n ouer uit te haal? Dit is vir my 'n baie groot concern. Ek verstaan nie want toe mense op pad te sien, ek verstaan nie waarom hierdie ding ingebring moet word nie, want al die jare was ouers deel gewees van die skoolsisteem. Ons het al deur baie dinge gegaan. Onderwysers kan het hou ook aan om vir ouers te nooi om deel te kan wees. So waarom hierdie verhouding wat al die jare daar was, waarom dit probeer breek? Ek kan dit nie verstaan nie en ek sou graag daaroor clarity wil hê, maar ek staan dit absoluut teen alle opsigte. Dank julle.
Thank you. Translation.
In short, what I wish to say is that I have 4 kids, of which I've already put 3